Hi, I'm here in the heart of Naples. This is where the Greeks first came to settle the city, and I'm going to show you a pearl situated right here in the center of the city in this historic building. Okay, here, where I'm taking you is to the Mineralogical Museum of Naples, which started in 1801. Before we get there, take a look at these stairs and the pavement. It's all basalt because they used the materials that they could mine locally. So this is very indicative of all the architecture in Naples. So come on in, let's go and see what treasures await us. Hi, I'm here with the director of the Mineral Museum of Naples, Piergiulio Cappelletti, and he's going to show us around this fantastic place. Wait till you see it, and give us a wonderful history of the minerals and the impact the minerals had on Naples and in Europe. So, Director Cappelletti, Piergiulio, tell us about this incredibly beautiful room.
Thank you, Anne, for coming here and for asking me, for giving me the possibility to show people above the ocean the beauty of these places. Well, actually, we are inside one of the oldest mineralogical museums of all Italy, because it was dated in 1801. First of all, I would like to tell you something about the history of this place, but I need to specify that this is one of the 5 museums of the Centro Musei dell'Università Federico II. As I told you, this place was founded in 1801 by the former king of Napoli, Ferdinando IV of Borbone, which, with his wife, Maria Carolina d'Austria, decided to enhance the researches and also the importance of the resources, of the mineralogical, geological resources of the Kingdom of Sicily, of the former Kingdom of Sicily.
Can I interrupt you and just ask you, obviously they appreciated the minerals, right? And they were looking for ways to mine them, to process them, right? Exactly. And it seems like there was a great number of different minerals here, and it would lead to richness in the kingdom, right?
Exactly. And there is also a very nice story about, because as you probably noticed, this is not the regular mineralogical museum, but it was a former library. It was a former library. And then when the Company of Jesus was expelled from the kingdom of Napoli in 1796, the queen, more than the king, decided to devote this place to the mineralogical collection. As you told, we had many minerals, but let me tell you about some historical news about this.
Can I interrupt you again?
Yes, of course, the queen, you can interrupt anytime you want.
I think the queen probably had a better aesthetic sense than the king, right? Well, and so here, this was the Jesuit library for many, maybe hundreds of years, at least maybe decades.
Around 200 years.
200 years.
This building, the building in which we are now, was started to build in the 17th century. So it's dated back to 16
this was like a Jesuit monastery, a location center, and this was their incredible library. Mm-hmm. And when they left, or they were asked to leave, maybe not so politely, the queen decided this would be a perfect place to showcase the minerals.
Exactly, but you mentioned the aesthetical sense, but probably we can say that the queen was a little smarter than the husband. So she decided to, we own many land, and why don't we exalt the importance of this land? So they decided to send 5 students from the University of Naples all around Europe to learn about minerals, the technique of mining, of collecting, and so on.
So it was a real intellectual initiative as well.
It was a specific decision by the Queen to send the students all around Europe. They came back in 1799 with maybe, I don't know the exact number, they told, some told 50, some told 60 crates full of minerals from all around Europe.
Wow.
And those historical specimen exhibits are the most important nucleus of this collection that you are showing here.
I can imagine, because probably many of those mines are closed now throughout Europe.
Absolutely, exactly.
So you have...
Nowadays, the mines are totally obliterated by town, by buildings, and so on. So
exactly.
You cannot find anymore those specimens.
Yeah, so in mineralogy, the provenance is very important, especially when these places do not exist. The value is really improved. And also the ability to study them, especially crystal formations, deposition formations, incredible, because really amazing.
This place didn't, well, it was a museum, but it's also one of the cradle of the studies of mineralogy. The modern mineralogy started here with many important figures, such as Arcangelo Scacchi, that we will see later. They started the modern mineralogical studies here, because the university were important, but also the museum were the center for the modern research at that time.
Wow, that is, you know, when you think about things, somebody having a vision. Now, I don't know whether her vision was intellectual or economic, but still, the fact that she was the queen and wanted to promote this initiative has given us the patrimony that we have today and the richness that we have today. It's just so amazing how one person can make a difference.
Yes, I'm very proud to tell this story, because it summarizes the way in which some illuminated king or queen should rule the land, the university, and so on. And it dates back to 1801. Can you imagine that?
I can't imagine that. I am so impressed.
They already decided, okay, we have to push for the geological resources of our kingdom. We want to valorize them, we want to show them, we want to study them in order to... Many of these minerals nowadays are used for technological applications, such as rare earth elements, such as silica, such as fluorite, and so on.
Well, maybe this would be a good time to ask you the question. You showed me that Tim Cook, the head of Apple, was here. Yes. Why was he here?
Yes, he was here because the university, Federico II University, decided to give him an honorary PhD title. And when we decided, what we are going to show him to impress him, we decided, why don't we bring him here in the Mineralogical Museum?
Oh, it's perfect.
Because now, really happy about that. And he was also curious. He asked many questions to the people that led the visit to him.
Perfect, because now, you know, with all of the microchips, semiconductors, I mean, minerals are taking on a whole new life, even in political discourses, right? But, I mean, that's always been true, but in the manufacturing process, it's really important.
Sometimes you don't imagine how many minerals are involved into your ordinary day life. Speaking of everything, has probably a geological and mineralogical origin.
I agree with you.
Now we are going within another hall of the museum. We are within the Arcangelo Scacchi Hall, devoted to this guy, Arcangelo Scacchi, who was director of the museum from 1844 to 1893, the year of his death.
Okay.
And he's the most prominent figure here in the Mineralogical Museum because he started to organize and to collect minerals from the Vesuvio. Here in this hall, all the minerals, and also we have some specimen of rocks, came from the Vesuvio.
Okay.
So this is the Vesuvian collection.
So it was a perfect place. You had the Mineral Museum and you had your own volcano, right? He could go home at night and sleep and eat.
many minerals have volcanic origin. And the Vesuvius was the ideal laboratory for this guy to perform all of these studies. But he was a workaholic. So whenever he finished the hour here in the museum, he went to his home. And in his home, he has his own laboratory where he synthesized artificial crystal. All of these crystals in these
are ground from solution.
Yes.
Okay.
Were grown in his home laboratory.
Okay. I would enjoy that too. I did that in mineralogy class, very enjoyable.
Of course, we have also many rocks from the Vesuvius, starting from the two types of lava that you can find in the Vesuvius. This is a volcanic bomb. Dated 1944, so the last eruption of the Vesuvius, the one that was filmed by the Allies whenever they conquered the southern part of Italy. This is a volcanic bomb. That means that this object was thrown in the air by the explosion of the Vesuvius. On the other side, we also have a so-called string or rope lava.
The rope lava.
Which is a translation of the Hawaiian name for that. Paeohe, and those type of samples told us also very important things. So the lava was flowing in this direction. This side was cooled first, so they stopped, while the inner part still flows and did this type of shape to this sample. We have also many important geological maps from the Vesuvio. This one is quite antique. It's dated 1877, and of course it missed all the volcanic emission from 1877 nowadays. Now we are going within another hall of the museum, and here you can see, of course, the importance of the Vesuvio with this gypsum relief of the Vesuvio map of the Vesuvio. It was dated in 1906, but we have a very important collection here, which is the so-called lava medals collection or medagliere collection. Some of these exhibits are made up of the different lava that were erupted from the Vesuvio, and immediately someone went there and stamped this.
Like a commemorative coin, right? Yes, so this is the eruption like of 1876,
so we have eruption from 1929, and we have the lava medals from 1929, 1933, 1860.
And do they say different things? Oh, this one has a map of Italy. Oh, this one is cute. It has Vesuvius erupting.
Yes, but sometimes the most usual things is the fact that they have the initial of the former king of that time. So we have WT, that stands for William, I don't remember exactly. Over there we have Ferdinand IV and Maria Carolina, and they have also their portrait over there.
Okay, great.
Well, the largest collection of these lava medals is held by the Vesuvian Observatory, but we have some pieces that they don't have.
Okay.
So it's quite precious. We also are devoted to Federico Zambonini, who was another prominent figure here in the museum. He was two-time dean of the Federico II University, but keep in mind that we are within the Federico II University. And he was the one who...
excuse me, just celebrated 800 years.
Yes.
The university.
Before we celebrated 800 years because it was founded. We have a letter from Federico II di Svevia, a letter in which he decided that there will be the first non-Catholic
lay university in Europe.
This letter was dated 1224. So last year we celebrated 800 years from their formation.
And so tell us again about, he was the president and director of the museum.
He was two-time dean of the whole university.
Okay.
And he was the one who started the the regular collection of all minerals is, we are mineralogists, and we used to call systematic study of all minerals from the Vesuvius. He started, and his book, Mineralogica vesuviana, is still one of the best treat on mineralogical studies on the Vesuvian samples.
So are there some Vesuvian minerals that are unique, that don't exist in other places, or that were discovered here?
Well, some of them were discovered here, and we have also some minerals, I'm going to show you in a minute, that were named after the Vesuvius. This mineral is vesuvianite, and the Vesuvian is the typical location where you are supposed to find these minerals. So many of these minerals were typical of the Vesuvius, but they can be found also in other volcanic districts. This is a typical lava slab from the Vesuvius.
Oh, apropos of this, can we just take a little side trip to the use of these minerals? Because just coming up the stairs, a lot of the building materials in Naples are volcanic in origin, and the roads are paved with volcanic stone. So it's like a geological exhibit outside as well.
Yes. And we have a collection of all the building stones from the Neapolitan area that were used for building the houses and very nice buildings around Naples. But it's located in a different place. Probably we can go there later.
Okay. And even the Romans used all of these building stones very effectively, especially on the roads.
But as you can imagine, also Romans, they used the resources, the geological resources, that their territory was rich, because also Rome has travertine, which is not a volcanic rocks, but they have also some volcanic rocks from the surrounding of Rome. Here we have the paving of the roads. It's almost everything done with the Vesuvian lava.
What are we looking at here now?
Well, now, as I mentioned before, we are looking at some geological samples typical of the Campania region that were used for building and decorative stone all around the town of Napoli. You probably know that in Campania region there are many volcanoes, so many stones are of volcanic origin, such as the lava slab here, the piperno, which is linked to the activity of Campi Flegrei, and the most important stone that is the backbone of the town is the tufo giallo napoletano, or Neapolitan yellow tuff, which model also the geographical contour of the town.
Because explain to me, they used to have these miners who were expert, so they literally went under the city of Naples to take out these blocks, right? But they knew that they couldn't take out too many blocks, otherwise things would collapse. Now that occupation no longer exists, but it's almost like a cookie cutter cutout, that they cut it out and then they built on top.
Exactly.
And this is very easy to mine and to sculpt, and it's very strong.
Yes. Speaking of the physical characteristic of the Neapolitan yellow tuff, as you told, it's easy to shape. So even with a simple hammer, you can shape the typical building stones of the Campania region, the Neapolitan yellow tuff. But as you also told, they used to mine underground, bring up the tuff and build the building.
Very good, economical way, right?
It's also kind of dangerous, because nowadays all of these galleries, all of these voids below the town of Napoli can be swept to collapse.
Right.
But when they learned this, they started to mine the Neapolitan yellow tuff on the other part of the town.
Okay.
So you will see many quarries around the town of Naples. Oh, we have also many other
beautiful
stones
here. Marbles.
Exactly.
And
those are typical, represent the ornamental stones within churches, within cloisters, and so on.
And we even have the royal palace here, which is full of marble.
Yes, many of the marble from the royal palace are this one. The most important one is the Pietra di Bellona, which is the main stone in which the Duomo di Napoli, the cathedral of Napoli, is made up.
And what is it? Is it a type of limestone?
Yes, it's a limestone.
Okay.
It's a dolomitic limestone.
Okay.
And it's also very nice when polished.
Yes.
But the most important, the most influent rock, also because it's very typical, the red in color, are the marble. Well, we call marble, but they are not geological marbles. They are marble because they were able to be polished. But you see all of these red stuff here.
Yes.
Those are the bauxitic filling of these limestones.
Okay.
Some of these reached also very important churches outside the town of Napoli, namely the cathedral in San Pietroburgo, St. Isaac Cathedral, has some marmo di Vitulano.
Did they bring the marble to St.
Yes,
Petersburg?
absolutely, because
there were a lot of Italians there,
the
no?
architect who realized that the St. Isaac Cathedral in St. Petersburg was a pupil of Vanvitelli, one of the most important architects who realized the royal palace in Caserta. So he liked very much this kind of marble and decided, okay, why don't we bring some here in Russia? And they decided to pave the part of the St. Isaac Cathedral in St. Petersburg with the Vitulano marbles.
Amazing. And this is from Campania,
Yes,
this region
absolutely.
near Naples?
Vitulano is close to Benevento.
Okay.
But it's Campania region.
Okay.
All of the samples here belong to Campania region. We have also the green tuff from Ischia, which is made
very famous.
Is important because the Monte Pomio, the most important mountain in Ischia, is made up of this green tuff, which is a close relative, a cousin of the Neapolitan yellow tuff.
And it has a lot of organic material in it.
Some of them, but they are both pyroclastic rocks, because also Ischia is a volcano, and they're typical rock. While in Campi Flegrei, the Tufo Giallo Napoletano and the Piperno, in Ischia, Monte Pomeo is made up of the green tuff from Ischia. Then we have the Mondragone marbles, also very, very beautiful kind of rocks that are used mainly for paving and for decorating altars in many, many churches in Naples.
Just beautiful. What a patrimony, right here in town, right?
Exactly. Right.
So you can build the house out of the tufo giallo, the yellow Neapolitan tuff, and then you can decorate it, right, with all the different marbles.
Exactly.
Sounds good to me. Just beautiful, beautiful pieces.
Those are from southern part of Italy, also from Avellino Province, also some rocks from Calabria region, and so on. But mainly all these exhibits are made up of geological rocks from Campania region.
Okay, thank you. Very interesting.